Hi, this is George Weigel. Welcome to my Garden Tip of the Week series. Let's go see what's going on in the garden today. Hi, hey, I've got my pruners out this week to do a little bit of fall pruning. Actually, a very little bit of fall pruning, because that's a pretty big misconception among most gardeners that they think fall is the best time to prune most of the landscape. In reality, it's the worst time to prune just about anything. Reason being, if you think this through, if you think like a plant, if it's going into fall and getting cooler, you're going into dormancy as a plant. The last thing you want to do is go out and cut that plant and make it grow new growth, new buds, and have the temperature go down really cold overnight and kill off that new growth. In other words, you don't want to stimulate new growth this time of year. You want to let the plant go dormant, so you really don't want to cut it. Second big reason, if you're going to cut plants that flower in the early spring, those plants are going to be producing the flowers, or at least the wood that are going to produce the flower buds for that next spring. So anything that blooms real early in the season, they're forming the buds in the fall. So if you go out and whack that plant back in the fall or over the winter or very early spring, you're cutting all the flower buds off your plant. These would be things that bloom anytime before June. That would be forsythia, azaleas, rhododendrons, lilacs, weigelas, all those early bloomers. The time to prune them is right after they're done flowering. The second big time to prune is coming out of winter time, after winter. That's when you would prune. A lot of the evergreens would be good to prune at that time of year. Also things that are going to bloom later in the season, like a butterfly bush, rose of Sharon, caryopteris, things that are going to bloom mid to late June and later. That's the time to cut those. One rule, if you can remember this easy rule to think about, if it blooms early, cut it later. If it blooms later, cut it early. Now there is a big difference between cleaning up a landscape, deadheading, versus pruning, which is what I'm going to be doing right now. This time of year I'm neatening up some things, deadheading, like these roses right here. It's a good idea to continuously prune roses, but if you look down here, there's a spent flower, and there's a couple almost dead or brown looking little branches that I'm going to just snip those off. Just go in and clean those out. That's deadheading. That's okay to be doing right now. Things like cleaning up the butterfly bush, especially to keep them from reseeding into the wild, because some of them are a little invasive. But that's cleanup. That's snipping. That's neatening type things. That's okay. Pruning, different story. So go light on the pruners right now. Think about what you're cutting and why, and try to get the timing right. You probably won't kill the plant, but you might get rid of all your flowers for next year. So, all right. Well, I'm George Weigel, and see you next week on PennLive.com.